Welcome, everybody. I am here today with Gino from Jake and Gino. He is also an author, a certified money coach, as well as a podcast host. So very excited to have Gino with us today. We're gonna start kind of at the beginning with Jake and Gino and just maybe give us a high level overview of what I said, but more in depth about as far as what you're involved in and what gets you excited today. So maybe we just start with Jake and Gino, where that all started and what gets you excited about it.
Well, Scott, you also forgot to mention that I'm an amateur opera singer too. That's what excites me as well today. So singing opera, I only started singing about 4 years ago. Didn't know I had a talent for it, but it's one of those things in life. As you go around, you have all these passions and all these desires inside of you. And then one day you wake up and you go, I'm a little bored. What do I have to do today to make myself get a little bit more excited? And that's where Jake and Gino came in. I was doing deals. It's fun making money, especially when you don't have any. I had a restaurant for years, did great until '08. '08 comes, everything changes. I'm working harder, making less. And as I was telling you, I had a podcast with the gentleman today who is in HR. In '08, what happened was we're all making less. So we all needed to find a side hustle. So my side hustle back in '08 was real estate. I'm like, holy crap. That makes total sense. I ended up getting into real estate with Jake. We bought our first property in 2013. After 18 months of looking for our first deal, 16, I decided to leave the restaurant. I'd been with Jake for 5 years and I moved to Florida. And I'm like, I'm bored down here because I'm not buying deals. What can we do, Jake? He's like, let's write a book. I'm like, okay, I've never written a book before. Let's start a podcast. I don't even know what a podcast is, but let's do that because I've got nothing else to do. And I was already in the life coaching space. So I'm like, how can I teach people to buy real estate, and multifamily? That was my strength. That was my niche. And I'm like, okay, let's create a framework, buy right, manage right, finance right. Let's start Jake and Gino and let's start teaching people how to buy multifamily. And we were fortunate because I don't want to say we were one of the beginning, but there weren't that many quote unquote gurus out there. I like to call myself a guru because I'm actually doing what I'm teaching, but it's really funny to see that progression. And then we got lucky because the market caught wind. People got really excited about multifamily and now the market's changed. But that's where the passion came from, Scott. I just wanted to do something different. And ultimately I realized, and what most people realize once they start to get older, what brings joy in a person's life, and not from a money perspective, but just from a pure passion perspective, is really coming out and helping others. Once you get out of yourself and you stop worrying about yourself and your problems, and you can shine the light and go, well, that person or that group of people can use some of my wisdom, and you start helping them and you start getting results and you start changing people's lives, man, that is a lot of fun. You want to do more of that. And you want to get the email of somebody saying, hey, I just closed my first deal, or man, I just left my job. Those are some great emails. And as you get better and you start doing that more, you want more and more of it.
Sure. Okay. So it's hard to imagine you bored because you've got a lot going on. How do you balance everything with the books and the coaching program and the investments? And there's a lot of people out there that are starting out, trying to figure out, I want to get into multifamily, but you've got a lot going on. Like, how do you balance everything?
So for me, you got to get real clear. I think, we don't lack the motivation. We lack the clarity. And I was very confused back in 2007 and 2008. Everyone would ask me, Gino, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. Well, I didn't ask you what you didn't want to do. What do you want to do? And then the next question was, well, I want to get out of the restaurant. Great. What do you want to do? Oh, I said, okay, I want to create some kind of passive income or some kind of generational wealth. I want to build wealth. What does that look like? And I got really clear. And if you're listening to this and you're unclear or you're not sure, go out and hire a life coach. I mean, that's the first step you need to do, because don't tell me you don't have enough time, because a guy named Elon Musk was catching rockets, is doing solar. He's creating Doge. He's rescuing astronauts. He's got a car company. You're going to tell me that guy, you're busier than him? It's not about how busy you are. It's about how intentional you are with your time. And it takes time to do that. Elon Musk wasn't born a billionaire and wasn't born with all these skills. He became really good at certain skills that he has. He created his genius. He followed his passion. He didn't follow the money. See, the problem is that people follow the money, and money is just a result. When we get into money coaching, I can talk a little bit about that. But what I'd like you to do, if you're listening to this, what really excites you? What energizes you? And for me, it was business. It was real estate. It was making money. But get clear on what you want to do. Once you're clear on what you want to do, then you start creating, I guess, action steps or goals based on your values, not my values, not Scott's values, your values. It's called values-based decision making. And for me, it was real simple, unconsciously or subconsciously. I didn't hate the restaurant because I wasn't making money. That was one of the reasons. But the real reason was it didn't align with my values anymore. I was working on the weekends. I was working during the holidays. I wasn't excited. I wasn't passionate. I wasn't building something. Those go all in direct misalignment with what my values are: the responsibility, the control, the extreme ownership, the growth mindset. All of that was in total misalignment with my values. And if you can sit down and truly think of what your values are, not a boilerplate, but what do you really believe in? What do you live by? What do you crave? What would really hurt it was missing in your life? If you can figure what that looks like, that's how you start building your goals. And then I would also read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. That book is phenomenal. I read the book 3 times and I still, every time I read it, there's something new. But he talks about a goal is just a result. What you need to fall in love with is the systems and the processes that get you to that goal. What you ultimately become in that journey is the person that you need to become to hit the goal. It's not the goal in and of itself. If I want to close a property by the end of the year, don't worry whether I close it or not. Subconsciously worry about what processes or steps do I need to do. That's calling brokers, that's talking to investors, that's doing property tours, that's underwriting deals. I need to fall in love with all of that stuff. And I need to systematize that and create a process. And if I can enjoy that and I like that, guess what? Sooner or later, you're going to hit that first deal and close that first property. But what I would, say to put a bookend to this one is it's values-based decision making, and then understanding how James Clear sets up his goals and the systems and processes that allow you to hit those goals.
Yeah, that's a good book. I like what you said about growth mindset, because I know as an entrepreneur, I've got a couple businesses, and I know I've worked with people or even employees that didn't have that growth mindset, and it just slows you down. It's like you just don't have a place for people, especially when you got a small team and you got people that have that closed mindset. There's only so far you can go with that kind of thinking.
I agree.
You had mentioned about money coaching. Can you kind of give us insight on what that means? What you're doing with that?
Well, Scott, when I say the word money, what comes to mind to you? What's the first word that comes to mind? What are you thinking about?
I mean, it's dollars, paying bills. God, there's so many different things, right? I mean, it could be good or bad, right? I guess it depends on what your view on money is.
It's emotions, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it pops up. But what is money really? It's a result, right? It's value creation. And for somebody who's an entrepreneur, we understand that. I started a business to provide for my family, to make money. You don't start a business for that. You start a business to provide value for your customer. If once you understand that, the money game becomes pretty easy because it's a game and it has rules. And if you don't understand that, you're not going to win in the game of money. But if we can extrapolate that even further, the emotions behind it, right? When I was trying to become financially free, I didn't know those rules. I didn't understand what that was. I was just focusing on the goal. What happens with money coaching and why I'm so passionate about it is we're talking about the relationship with money. Everyone has a certain relationship with money. I wrote a book called Happy Money, Happy Family, Happy Legacy. Now, if somebody who has a bad relationship with money or a negative one, the first thing they're going to say is money doesn't make you happy. Well, that's not what my book is talking about. What people say is about them. What you hear is about you. So I'm telling you that there's a way to earn money that can make your life a little bit happier, or there's happy money that comes into your life through positive energy, being on these podcasts, writing books. That's happy money to me. Unhappy money is being stuck in the restaurant washing dishes or going to a job that is soul sucking. That's unhappy money. I want everyone to focus on the happy money aspect of it. And if you don't have a good relationship with money, or if you've never actually unpacked that, it's going to be very hard. You're going to have certain beliefs around money that may even hold you back. So how do you do that? Let's do a little quick lesson. I would start out with thinking about your earliest memories with money. When you first started out, when you're a young kid, 5, 6, whatever the earliest memory of money is. And as it goes along, I would say, get a piece of paper out and create your money bio and put memories about money and see what ends up happening. You'll start seeing patterns in there. And you'll start seeing beliefs. And one thing that shocked me as I'm going through this course and I'm coaching others, it's amazing that the patterns and the beliefs that are carried through from one generation to the next, we may not want to be our mothers or our fathers, but holy crap, do we actually, what's the word? They contribute to a lot of our baggage. And
Yes.
for me, I'm a 5-year old. I'm a little 5-year-old boy. I'm going to the grocery store with my Italian grandmother. We have no credit cards. She doesn't speak any English. We're going to get the groceries. But I spot some toy soldiers. I want those toy soldiers, but she can't afford them. And in her Italian, she's saying to me, Tesoro, sweetheart, when your mom comes back, we'll come back and buy the toy soldiers. Well, to me, coming home and not buying those toy soldiers is what I call a money trauma. I'm a little 5-year-old who doesn't understand that now we don't have enough money. If I don't get something when I ask for it, I'm never going to get it, right? That's a money trauma. And that's something that's stuck with me for a long time. Another one, real simple. This is a positive one for me, at least the way I look at it. I'm 8 years old. I come home from work with my dad. He has a restaurant. He just opened it up. He gave me $2 because I worked all day. I'm in front of my whole entire family and they're all praising me, saying, good job, hard work, great job, Gino. So I, in my mind, my 8-year-old little mind, I equated hard work, getting paid, reward, good thing to work hard. Well, coincidentally enough, 45, 50 years later, I've got multiple businesses. I work like an animal. I love what I do. And that pattern, that belief was adopted early on. I ended up opening a restaurant because my dad had a restaurant. So if you're listening to this, it's really hard work to do, that lift of thinking about all of those beliefs, all those patterns that happen. But you'll see as you get older in life, and it held me back for years because I was always told by my mom, who was an immigrant, save, 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 save for a rainy day. We have to stay small. Well, no wonder I had one restaurant for 20 years. When I met Jake, within 5 years, we have 1,500 apartments. That makes no sense logically, but there's no logic when it comes to money. We have 3 brains. We have our instinctive brain, our emotional brain, and our logic thinking brain. Most of us, when we're making bad decisions, are stuck in our instinctive brain, our emotional brain. That's the patterns. That's the beliefs. Those are the things that are holding us back. If we can bypass those and start making decisions with our logical or thinking brain, we're going to make much better decisions.
That's great. So if we could switch more to kind of your business, I want to talk about lead generation. How do you get leads right now for your business? Is it maybe people hear about you through Jake and Gino, the podcast, the books? Are you going out and trying to get leads? What does that process look like for you?
I think you can break it down into 2 steps. It's either outbound marketing or inbound marketing. I mean, it's hard to get that inbound, right? You want people to come out and reach out to you. There's a lot of work involved. I mean, when we created Jake and Gino, we wrote a book. And it's funny because 10 years ago is so much different than it is nowadays. You can have AI write a book for you. You can have AI write content for you. I mean, obviously you put your little touch into it, but listen, I wrote this book for that reason. I mean, I want people to learn about money coaching. So I've got content out for them. I've got 3 different podcasts going on. I want people to hear my voice. I want people to connect with me. I want them to think of my brand as the money coach, as the family guy, the guy with 6 kids, the guy that's there to help people out with their money problems. So for you, if you're going to do lead gen, you can go online, create all the strategies. Facebook ads still work really well now. I'm building a list through Facebook ads, but to get the messaging is proper. So before you start throwing any money, before you start doing any of that, let's take a step back and let's think about what your brand looks like. What's the vision for your brand? And that's for me and Jake. When we did Jake and Gino, we wanted to be the premier multifamily education company out there that offered white glove service. That's what our brand, that's what we wanted. So we offered high level ticket coaching. We weren't just going out there and trying to sell a $97 product. That wasn't for us. So all our branding, all our imaging, all our messaging was all based upon that. And we had to show our results. And one of the ways we did it, like I said, we wrote books, we started a podcast, we started interviewing other thought leaders, we started having seminars. So we wanted people to find us. And once people find you and they start listening to you, and all of a sudden you become an authority, they have more trust. You're trying to build trust with your audience. I mean, I'm sorry to say, it's not easy. And people think it's an overnight success. But if you invest some time into it, I'm not talking 7 or 8 years. We're talking 3, 4, 5, 6 months of becoming really clear of what you're talking about, possibly getting some type of speaker training. Go out there and hire a person to help you polish up your presentation, polish up your speech, and then start speaking to a specific person, a specific avatar, and getting clear on who you're serving. That's going to help the lead gen. And then if you're going to get into that aspect of it, go out there and hire a digital marketer. Go out and hire somebody that can help you with the ads. But don't light money on fire by trying to get the wrong person for your service when you don't understand who or what you're trying to sell to.
Yeah, I was on a podcast recently. I was talking about like going from 0 to 1 is the hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody wants to jump to 10, but like you got to start the process of getting just getting going. There's so many different things and it's intimidating, but I think if you can get from 0 to 1, it gets easier after that. It's not that it's easy, but it gets easier because running a business is hard, but just like the inertia of moving makes such a big difference. And you can look back on it, kind of what you were saying. It doesn't have to be 5 years. At 3 to 4 months later, you can go, wow, look what I've accomplished.
Scott, what I would say, if I can give you an example of, let's say I'm a syndicator, a multifamily person, I'm trying to raise capital, and I need to start curating investors. You don't just all of a sudden one day go out and build a list just out of the blue. What you need to do is first and foremost is reach out to friends and family. That's just to start doing. But I think everybody on this call needs to understand that branding has changed over the last 10, 15, 20 years. Every single one of us is our own unique brand, and we have our own unique messaging. And what I would say is, if I was doing this once again, we've been able to raise over 10 million bucks on 3 of our deals. The students in our community have raised over $700 million. So, I mean, it's not rocket science. You need to get out there and you need to start creating a website based on what your message is. Are you in multifamily? What problems are you solving for that investor? Well, the problems that I would say is it's a basic human need. It's food, clothing, and apartments, right? It's an alternative to the stock market. Do you want to have an investment where Trump comes on one day and puts tariffs and you're down 20%, and then the next day you're up 10%? You have no control. Multifamily is a different vehicle. So all of a sudden I need to know who I'm speaking to. And if it was me, I'd be speaking to pizza guys, because that's the person I'd be speaking to, small business owners. There's a lot of them out there. Find out what their pain points are. Understanding that, then create content to be able to solve their pain points. Now, this is a little bit longer than what people are like, I don't, give me 1 to 10. No, this is all planting the seeds. This is all planting the foundation. Because once you have the foundation planted, then you can go up a lot quicker. You can build your building a lot quicker. But if you don't have this foundation planted, you're not going to be able to build a building. And if you do, that building's going to crumble. When something happens, it's going to crumble, because then you're going to say to yourself, nah, I failed. You didn't fail. You just didn't give yourself enough time. And it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to look terrible in videos. You may sound foolish. You may get a lot of haters. That's okay. Just stick with it, because if your sole mission is to become a syndicator or whatever your business is in, you're passionate about it, you're going to put the content out there and people are going to resonate with you. And I think the last thing I'd say is just be authentic, be honest, be vulnerable, and be yourself. And there's no reason why Trump is the president. You could call him whatever you want to. He's at least himself. You hear everybody else talking. They're starting to curse in their videos. That's not them. They're trying to be him. Be you. Don't be anybody else. And I think people love that. People respect that. And people will say, wow, Scott put out a video. I give him a lot of credit. It took a lot of courage to do that. And they'll look up to you. And then you'll be like, wow, I got some credit for that.
Yep.
Don't be afraid.
Yep. I agree with you. That's good points. You talked a little bit more about marketing channels. Are there marketing channels that you have found over the years to be more effective? I think you touched on Facebook ads, but have you found any other channels? Obviously, you have the podcast and the book, but what's been the most effective for you?
For me, I think in our space, and unfortunately, I'm testing this with money coaching now, and I've seen so much more overreach. Multifamily is like a little niche. So real estate's here. And then you got real estate. Then you got single family homes. Then you got fixes and flips. Then you have commercial. Multifamily is at the apex. And it's one of those limiting beliefs that people have. I can't buy an apartment. Of course you can buy an apartment. It's not that hard, but it is the apex. So for me, I've seen that YouTube works really well. And I always thought to myself, one of my mentors told me, and I was thinking to myself, I need to get as many views as possible on these videos. I need to get my voice out as much as possible. And he just simply said, make it purpose over popularity. If you can have your videos and your content purposeful and you're on fire, the popularity sooner or later will come. Now with multifamily, there's not as many eyeballs as other channels like money and coaching and investing. I see that niche is just huge because there's so many people talking about it and it can reach over so many different areas. So for me, I love YouTube. I mean, you can make YouTube shorts. You can go the 5 to 10 minute route. You can go the 20-minute route, the 45-minute route, whatever is in your thing. But I think you need to be on video. I think people need to see you. And I think video, you just connect with somebody on video. We have the audio podcast as well. So we're on Spotify. So we have a lot of downloads every month. But I think YouTube is just going to be a must going forward. I think everybody needs to be on video.
Yep. And that's where you find this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned AI in the beginning about writing a book as kind of an anecdote, but do you guys use AI in your business?
I think everybody's got to use AI. I mean, like for the Jake and Gino, if I want to write a bio from somebody, I have a bio. It takes me 30 minutes. I can tell AI to write me a bio and condense it down, give me different versions. If you're looking to create a PowerPoint We have monthly calls with our team, create a PowerPoint. I can have AI create this PowerPoint for me. I can rip it down. But I would say just use it. And if you're going to use it, trust it, but verify it, because all the numbers aren't always accurate. I love AI right now to get our T12s out, to rip out our T12s. We have monthly finance calls with our, COO, with Jake, myself, and with bookkeeper. I have her rip them down every month. I have her create bar graphs and charts and seeing where there's weaknesses or there's inefficiencies in the portfolio. Analyzing T12s is incredible. And then when you're also looking at properties and you're analyzing properties, asking AI to do rent comps for you is great. You're looking at a property, 123 Main Street. Give me the median income and give me some 3 rent comps in the area for a 2-bedroom, 1.5-bath apartment with 700 square feet that has a pool. And it's just amazing the amount of efficiency that it can give you. So for us, analyzing properties, also listing brokers. If you're looking for brokers in the area, asking AI for brokers in the area, doing any kind of research is really helpful. Analyzing T12s, going through your whole financial records. We had Jake's found something as far as an expense report in the area of Knoxville as far as multifamily goes and how much the expenses were by asset class, whether it was an A property, B property, C property. I had our bookkeeper go through it and actually put it up against what our portfolio is doing. It would have taken her days to do this kind of stuff. And literally in 5 minutes, she put it in and we're analyzing what the market's doing versus what we're doing. So it's just stuff that's incredible. It can make you a lot more efficient. I think the bookkeeping functions, and we haven't even touched on as far as artificial intelligence when it comes to scheduling appointments and that kind of stuff. We're not there yet. We're using the virtual assistants. It's a cheaper model, but AI will get to that point where it can start doing a lot of the scheduling for you, a lot of the manual tasks that your property managers do right now. I don't think it's there yet 100%, but I think in the next year to 2 years, it will be there.
Absolutely. Kind of piggybacking off that, I guess it would be like this. If you could automate one part of your business, what would it be?
That's a great question. We're in the process. Well, I'm trying to think as far as the education side versus the property management side. I'm trying to automate a process where broker touch points, and I'm working on it through the CRM and through Asana. But having a rhythm where being top of mind to these brokers. And if you're in any business, who do you need to be top of mind to? If I'm in acquisitions and I'm trying to buy properties, well, brokers are the gatekeepers. And how do I automate myself to say, Gino, make sure you reach out to these brokers with a text every 30 days, every 60 days, whatever that looks like, and having that automated. I'm in the process of doing that. It's clumsy. I've got Google Docs and Sheets because I just jumped on, but automating that process, and I'm sure AI can do that by me saying, hey, help me build an automated system to be able to reach out to brokers every 30 days to make sure that I'm top of mind. How does that look like? Is it an email? Is it a LinkedIn message? Is it a text? Is it a phone call? I think if I can build out that process and brokers see that I'm reaching out to them, they're like, wow, this person is engaged. Because I'm going to tell you right now, brokers aren't reaching out to you unless they have a deal. And most investors are not reaching out to brokers because they forget about it. It's not sexy. They don't think it's that important. But if you're top of mind to somebody and the deal comes and you just texted them 2 weeks ago and you've been bothering them for the last 6 months, they're going to remember you and they're going to call you up. And that's how you get deals in this market.
Yeah, I had 2 thoughts on that. The first would be, can you use a CRM for that, or are you looking for a different approach?
I can, but I like to use a different approach. I like to see if I can use something else because we have Asana. I can use it in Asana, but I'm just like, I want to try something else.
It's funny you said that, just because for other business I have, is you try to switch vendors. It's crazy how when
Mm-hmm.
you do an outreach, you have a call with them, they give you a proposal, and then you never hear from 'em again. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's a lot of times where the bar is so low, if you're just the person that's following up, you're
Yes.
gonna get the business. I know it sounds goofy and you may not be the most qualified, but you put the effort in, and a lot of times it just pays off.
Mm-hmm. And I've told our students too, just because a deal gets signed, you're following up 20 days after that deal is signed because it's on due diligence. It's a 30-day due diligence. That deal may fall out of contract. And guess what? If you follow it up, you're saving that broker time. He doesn't have to go back to his list. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of stuff, that kind of automation is incredible where you're able to put it in there and say, hey, follow up 20 days later, hit me up. Make sure you call Scott because Scott signed a contract, a deal, and then have the specifics of the deal. You signed it for 9 million. 20 days, why did this thing fall out of contract? You'll impress the broker, and that broker, like you said, once you're top of mind, he's going to give you a crack at that deal.
Absolutely. So I want to touch on operations a little bit more. You had mentioned a couple of tools that you're using. And I think people, as they start to grow their business, they wonder, how do they manage all this? So are there internal workflows or processes that you guys have in place that have made life easier for you? Because I'm sure you've had to build it all internally.
Yeah, for me, we were the most the I'm a guys. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna gets burned out after about 100 units, and you're like, well, how the hell do we scale? And I don't know if you came out of the womb knowing how to build a business or knowing how to scale a business. I sure as hell didn't. It took me a long time, and the only way I learned was, I don't want to say rip off and duplicate, but I had to go and learn EOS. I had to learn scaling up by Vern Harnish. We hired, people who were going to teach us to do this. And for me, fortunately, I'm thankful that we did that, because there's certain processes and certain things that seem so, now you look back at them, you're like, wow, what the heck? Why didn't I do this? Why did I only have one restaurant? Well, I only had one restaurant because I didn't have any core values. I didn't have any mission statement. I didn't have a culture built within my organization. That's the first thing that you need to do if you're going to start scaling, because it's great when it's Jake and Gino. We have the core values. We're both going to work our asses off. We're both going to be held accountable. But once you start adding team members, how do you hire and fire them? Well, you hire and fire them based on your core values and your mission statement. I didn't have one at the restaurant, so that's why I was stuck there, and I only had one, and it was a job. It wasn't the ability to scale. I think the second part is what we call the cadence of accountability. Do you have any kind of rhythms in your business? I mean, you should have them in your family. Running a family and running a business are very similar. But for us, we're the machine gun guys. We're going to give you 30 tasks. So we're going to blow you away. And it's like you're overwhelming your team. Have a quarterly meeting once a quarter. Segregate out 5 or 6 hours and figure out what a priority is. Maybe pick 4 or 5 or 6 priorities every quarter, depending on the size of your team. A priority is anything that takes more than 8 hours. Building a website, what you just said, automating the CRM, that takes more than 8 hours. That's a priority. Then from there, you task it down. What are the tasks needed to hit that priority? From that quarterly meeting, we have other meetings that I think are imperative. You need to have a weekly huddle with your executive team every week, going over KPIs and going over how the quarterly priorities are flowing, right? If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. We go over a bunch of different quarterly priorities, whether it's our revenue targets, whether it's our vacancy, whether it's our economic occupancy, whether it's our owner draws. That's going over every single week. The next meeting we like to have is our weekly L10 meetings with various team members. Every week, we like to go over the call with, let's say, a property manager. What is your quarterly priorities? What are your weekly to-dos? And then we have a parking lot below with any ideas. So I'm not emailing or texting Scott at 6 o'clock at night saying, hey, I got this great idea for the parking lot. It's in the parking lot in that dock. Every week we discuss it. And it's a place where you can empower your team member to say, I want ideas from you. Give me ideas and let's put them down there. Let's share them. I think the last 2 meetings I'd love to touch on is the daily huddle. Every morning at 8:45, you're on with the team for 15 minutes. Daily wins from yesterday, daily struggles, what are the things to do? And it's more of a collaborative kind of thing where you have all your team, talking about what's going on. And we do in property management end of days, the end of day report. At the end of the day, what are delinquencies? How many leases did you sign? How many leases, how many apartments did you turn? There's certain KPIs that we like to see. It holds them accountable. And also you're seeing what's going on and you're part of the thing. So if you don't have that cadence of accountability when you have a team built out, it's going to be really hard. You're going to be the I'm a guy. And like I said, I'm a gets burned out.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Gino. I really appreciate your time. It was very insightful. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.